Right, welcome back everyone, and today we are going to be doing our test of Exdeath. Now, we're of course have the usual bunch here on the left, but interesting inclusions. Number one, I've brought in Light Veritas today because she is fully reincarnated, and I want to show her off a little bit. I want to test her a little bit against Exdeath, just, you know, a ranged magical based gunner. Let's see what kind of damage we can do. Is it fair? Nope. Potentially no, but we'll see. And next up, we also have Dario here, who's kind of an anti-magical based tank. I figured I'd bring him along and test him out. Is his equipment perfect? Is he perfect? No, this isn't the perfect setup. But again, for the equipment that we do have, we're going to be testing this. Let's show off Exdeath. This is the stats we are essentially going to be running this with. You can see the elemental resistance and everything across the board here. Let's go in and see what happens. And of course, did include only the best for Exdeath's test with the correct type of music. Here, we'll start doing some of our casting. You of course want to be getting those buffs in very quickly. Exdeath, I mean, as you can see, initial AP quite nice here, as we do have 149 AP. That's going to be good for just dealing some potential damage. We throw some abilities out really quickly. Nice DPS, at least initially, off of his limit burst. 0% hit chance, but again, we're not particularly geared towards the accuracy, but you can see the initial build and the friend build about how good he is against any character, and I think that's generally okay. So let's, for the first time, we're actually going to cast this Trust Mastery skill because it is a speed bonus, and I just want to show it off. I also think that, again, this is one of the nicest Trust Masteries we've seen in a little bit. In a peek here, you see that his speed now up to a juicy 132 is quite nice, and if I remember correctly, that's also giving us some reduced physical and magical damage based resistance. So that's going to be quite nice when everything's said and done. And before we've cast too many buffs, we can also just fire off a limit burst or two, and this is already looking to be quite nice in terms of our damage reduction on X. Not particularly the best element against him, but you can see here doing quite well at making sure that he is reducing the damage taken just already from that Trust Map. We'll see how much it changes on Dario. We'll also be over here in the testing zone. And we'll start buffing him as well, making sure that he is getting ready, and pick up the item because we are, well, yeah, doing what we need. Alright, getting into a few other buffs. We'll cast this, giving him that damage reduction, firing off an attack now. Quite a bit of damage from Veritas attacks. Almost through the initial buffing stage. One more turn and we can start testing things. We'll fire this one. Oh. And now, just trying to remember the other two. We don't want to, well, we can quickly try this CT. So 0% chance against Mont, not super great. 0, 0, and 0. That might actually have changed my mind a little bit about his sub jobs. Maybe Rune Knight is just straight up better, but we'll fire off this ability here. And now we can start attacking. So first off, Mont's attack, usually quite strong, but as you can see, down to 1744 damage only. Not very, very impressive. Look, we do have a stacked amount of single target resistance and 32% across pretty much every element except light. Also that slashing resistance, all working in unison to basically keep this character very safe against multiple damage sources. Alright, so we'll try just a few others, see if it's just luck. No, doesn't seem like it. No, pretty good survivability for a mage. Even the AoE attack here, not much of a problem. Alright, Sephiroth is up next. Now, this I do think is quite telling that Sephiroth will contribute a fair amount with the curse status effect, potentially shutting off things such as re-raise from a different source. Curse might be really, really valuable at countering Exdeath, but once again, damage reduction here is really, really, really strong against him. Evasion characters might give a bit of a problem, but not too terribly much if he is just not taking all that much damage. And Gilgamesh, our magic-based attacker, also not having much luck at penetrate damage. If you even look at what we are getting for a counter, 915 damage, sure, curse, frostbite as well. Gonna potentially be really problematic for this guy losing AP, but he's got a ton of it already. And taking 3,000 damage in return is quite a nasty bit of vengeance. So, okay, alright. We've taken a look at all of that. Now let's just wait a bit and let Exdeath have a turn. Alright, Exdeath, let's see what your limit burst can do. About 3,000. The accuracy also has improved a little bit, so we're not just at a flat 0% anymore. There is potential for him to hit evasion characters with his buffs, and with a correct build, accuracy build, undoubtedly he will be much better at killing some characters. Also, some of the damage we are doing against different characters, quite strong. As you can see, Dario here, not taking any damage because of his barriers, but just have to remember which one it is. And here, getting through Dario, and quite a bit of Dario as well. Almost 50% of his HP off of a single attack while breaking through those barriers and dealing a considerable amount of damage to others. If we take a look, 48% chance of actually causing Doom status effect, which is nice, and able to spread that Doom status effect fairly efficiently through multiple characters. And if we just here, some of the other damage abilities seem quite powerful. Very strong character by the look of it against most Sephiroth. And just taking a look at the poison, 0% chance there, 77% there, 0%. And just take a peek, does have poison immunity on the character. Go over here, that's against Sephiroth. Also 0%, which I do believe is because of the 50%. So poison depends on which character you're fighting, on whether or not they have any resistance. Not really that difficult, but I think that Doom is a really interesting status effect here, because while we can't poison it, and I didn't find that poison being on this basic skill was too probable of happening, it does seem like Doom has a much better chance of happening than I gave it credit for, which does up the power of his status effect. So just going in here, fire off that limit burst, and we'll see if we can get it on him. Why not? Oh, he turned. He is safe. but really, really love this. This is one of the coolest members we've seen in a while. Especially that end scene there. Good stuff. Oop, hit the wrong button. My bad. So what else is there to say? I think that Exdeath is a really top-tier DPS character out there who's capable of getting through a lot of stuff that would normally keep characters. You look at what Dario is taking there, and yes, a more specified build would definitely be better, but you're not always prepared for that. Neither are your opponents. I do really like a lot of the stuff that Exdeath is doing, but he is a limited character. And with limited characters, a lot of the time, vision cards are potentially some of the stuff that will be the biggest problem, whether or not you have a lot of VCs to support him. Because obviously, his own VC, which I barely talked about in this, is a big source of damage for him, as it is a lot of magic attack resistance. Just to bring it up really quickly before I confirm 100%, Wotv calc. Little slow loading today. I do believe it is 42%. Matter of fact, we can even go to the gotcha. Oh, never mind. Yeah, 42% magic attack resistance penetration, critical evasion, AoE resistance, and reaction block rate. But I do think that one of the telltale signs about this character is that unlike some of the other characters we've seen who synergize really well with physical and magical, Exdeath does feel like almost uniquely good for himself, that he could be on a, physical joint team. But I think he would be better with other mages, because other mages will benefit from some of the stuff that he is doing, and vice versa. So that is Exdeath in a nutshell. I think that he looks really, really great, really, really cool, and everybody who does get him and gets to, use him and enjoy, I think you'll be quite happy with overall results. But you will be almost certainly getting this vision card to make sure that you are doing as much as possible. And keep in mind, one other final thing I just want to throw out there for Exdeath is that when we were testing him, he wasn't even really that high of a magic stat. If you were to push his magic stat much higher, it would be even potentially much better DPS than we saw. In a way, I guess the thing is that he's kind of what I hoped Angela would have been back in the time, but maybe Angela users will find that the combination of those characters pretty much unstoppable. Either way, the one thing I really want to see right now, given that we have these two new characters, they're both potentially good teammates and diametrically opposed to each other, I do want to see Mont versus Exdeath, team versus team, to see who ends up better in a, almost not necessarily a 1v1, but a unique team matchup, fighting mages versus King Mont and whoever he goes with. Could be quite interesting. So thanks so much for watching. Take care. Later.